All right, so today we're diving into something that has the crypto world buzzing.
Yeah, it's pretty huge.
Coinbase's new wrapped Bitcoin CbBTC is causing quite a stir, especially with this latest move.
Yeah, launching CB BTC on Solana, right? At Breakpoint 2024.
Right. Huge news coming out of the Solana-focused event.
Yeah, definitely got people talking.
So I guess to kick things off, for anyone who may not be familiar,
Yeah.
what is wrapped Bitcoin?
So basically, imagine you have Bitcoin,
Okay.
but you want to use it on, say, the Solana blockchain.
Right.
Wrapped Bitcoin is how you do that. It's like a tokenized version of your Bitcoin
Right.
that you can use on other blockchains.
Kind of like a gift card for Bitcoin, but for other blockchains.
Exactly.
Interesting.
You're basically locking up your Bitcoin as collateral, and then you get an equivalent amount of a wrapped version of it, like cbBTC, that you can use on Solana or on Ethereum, for that matter.
That makes sense. I mean, it lets you engage in the DeFi space without actually selling your Bitcoin.
Exactly. You can lend it, borrow against it, all sorts of things.
That's super interesting.
It's opening up a lot of doors, especially with Coinbase getting in on the action now.
Right. And this isn't their first launch of cbBTC either, right?
Nope. It's already live on Ethereum and Coinbase's own Base network.
So why Solana? Why now?
Well, Solana offers much faster transaction speeds and lower fees than Ethereum, which is pretty important for DeFi applications.
That's true.
I think Coinbase sees that potential, hence the big announcement at Breakpoint. And the audience there, let me tell you, they ate it up.
They were excited.
To be fair, it's not every day that a newcomer like cbBTC jumps onto the scene and instantly becomes a major player.
And it really has, hasn't it?
On just 7 days.
Yeah, 7 days. It's already the third most popular wrapped Bitcoin product out there,
Crazy.
beating out established competitors like WBTC and RENBTC.
I know, right? It's remarkable.
What do you think is driving this rapid adoption? I mean, is this the Coinbase effect in action?
I think it's safe to say that Coinbase's reputation carries a lot of weight. They're a known entity. People trust them.
Right.
Security and reliability are a big deal in the crypto world, and that's where Coinbase really shines.
Makes sense. I mean, would you trust just anyone with your Bitcoin?
Exactly. But it's not just the name, though. I think there's also growing desire for wrapped Bitcoin solutions that are, well, more decentralized,
Oh, for sure. Speaking of which, there was that whole thing with WBTC in the Sky community,
Oh,
right?
yeah. That was a whole other can of worms.
Can you bring us up to speed on that?
Yeah, so the Sky community, they were formerly known as MakerDO. They had some serious concerns about WBTC, mainly because of Justin Sun's involvement.
Okay, so for those of us who don't know, who's Justin Sun and what's his connection to all of this?
So Justin Sun, he's the founder of Tron,
Okay.
and the Sky community, they were worried that he had too much control over WBTC's governance. You see, they felt like the governance structure gave him too much power, which kind of goes against the whole idea of decentralization.
Right, because if one person has too much control, it's not really decentralized anymore, is it?
Exactly. And in DeFi, decentralization is kind of a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, that's like the whole point, right?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So the Sky community, they weren't comfortable with that level of centralized control. They were worried about things like censorship or even just bad actors.
And they ended up voting to remove WBTC as collateral from their platform entirely, didn't they?
They did, yeah. And it wasn't even close.
It was like 88% voted in favor of removing it, right?
88%. Can you believe that? That's a pretty clear message if you ask me.
That's a resounding no to WBTC?
Yeah, basically. And this is where things get really interesting, especially with cbDTC coming into the picture.
How so?
Well, think about it. WBTC is facing all this backlash. There's this void, an opportunity for another wrapped Bitcoin to step in and gain some traction. And cbBTC, well, it seems pretty well positioned to do just that.
So you're saying this could be a turning point?
It's definitely possible. I mean, WBTC has been the top dog for a while now, but cbBTC has a few things going for it.
Like what?
Well, like we said before, there's the Coinbase factor, right? That reputation, that trust. That's huge in the crypto world, especially now.
Especially with all the uncertainty around WBTC.
Exactly.
Right.
People are looking for a reliable alternative, and cbBTC might just be it.
And it's on Solana now too, right? That's going to count for something.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Solana is a really exciting platform, super fast, really low fees. It's a great fit for DeFi.
Coinbase must think so too. I mean, launching cbBTC on there is a pretty big deal.
Huge deal. It's like a vote of confidence, not just in cbBTC, but in Solana as a whole. And when a big player like Coinbase makes a move like that,
People notice.
they notice it could attract more developers, more projects to Solana.
which would make it even more attractive to users.
Exactly. It's that whole network effect thing. The more, the merrier.
For sure. But for someone who's maybe new to all of this, I mean, they're hearing about wrapped Bitcoin and DeFi and Solana, and it can be a lot to take in all at once.
It really can.
So for those listeners, what's like the one big takeaway they should keep in mind?
That's a good question. I think the biggest takeaway is that things are changing, like really changing.
In the crypto world.
You think, especially in the crypto world, but really in finance in general, decentralized finance. It's not just some abstract concept anymore.
It's getting real.
It's getting very real, and it's challenging the way we think about money and finance in a big way.
So what you're saying is this whole cbBTC thing.
It's just the tip of the iceberg.
So with all that said, I mean, cbBTC launching on Solana, it's got to be huge for Solana itself, right?
It's definitely a big win for them.
Uh-huh.
Brings a lot of attention their way.
For sure.
And legitimacy, too, you know?
Right. Like having Coinbase on board is a pretty big endorsement.
Exactly. And you know what happens when a big player like Coinbase makes a move?
Everyone else takes notice.
Everyone else takes notice, and suddenly they're all interested in Solana.
Like, oh, Solana's good enough for Coinbase. Maybe we should be paying attention too.
Right? And that can snowball. More developers, more projects, more users.
The network effect in action.
Precisely. And that benefits everyone involved, not just Solana.
Right. It creates this whole ecosystem where everyone's building on each other's success.
That's the idea anyway.
It's really fascinating to watch it all unfold.
Absolutely. It's like witnessing the early days of something huge, you know?
Yeah, it really does feel that way sometimes, like we're just scratching the surface.
Exactly. There's so much potential here.
So for our listeners who might be just wrapping their heads around all of this, what's the one big takeaway about Coinbase and cbBTC?
I think the biggest takeaway is that we're seeing a real shift in how we think about finance, decentralized finance, blockchain technology. It's not just some fringe thing anymore. It's going mainstream.
And cbBTC is a part of that.
Absolutely. Coinbase getting into the game like this, it just shows you how significant this shift really is.
So in a way, this is bigger than just Coinbase, bigger than just cbBTC.
Way bigger. This is about the future of finance itself and how we interact with money. It's about empowering individuals and giving them more control over their assets.
That's a powerful thought. Well, as we wrap up this deep dive, here's something for our listeners to chew on. Could this be the catalyst that brings DeFi into the mainstream?
It's definitely a step in that direction.
It's going to be really interesting to see how this all plays out.
You know it. The world of crypto never sleeps, that's for sure.
That's right. That wraps up today's deep dive. Big thanks to our expert for breaking down this complex topic for us.
Anytime.
Until next time.